Both begin recording. Now record is on.
Recording is on, is it?
Yeah. And
Is it
now
okay now?
Professor Robin Harte will give his talk. Here you are, Robin.
Morning. Good morning. I need to be able to scroll through the file.
Is it okay? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think everybody can hear you well, very well.
Will he start now, or will we wait until 9?
Yes, it's time to start.
Start now, Robin. Hello.
I'm ready to start.
Right.
Huseyin, how are you? I need to be able to.
Fine, thanks. I am pleased to hear that you are fine as well. Jane is fine as well.
Yeah, we're all fine. Chuck is okay.
Yes, good.
Go on, start, Robin, and then you can do this. You see.
We need to scroll
Robin
through
will
the
give a
file.
talk on the mixed identity for normed modules.
Okay, right. You can start now, Robin.
I can start now. Can I? Okay, we're
That's
very small
okay.
picture, but we don't mind. Huseyin, can you see this very beautiful picture? Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear us? We're going to talk now on mixed identity. Go on, Robin.
I'm ready to go with this. Huseyin, this is a very old topic that from my mathematical prehistory, and that's nice. It's getting bigger.
Thank you.
Okay, away we go, and we just poke something.
Go on. Go on.
Let's go on.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about a curious little phenomenon called the mixed identity. And where does this thing go?
Normed modules.
That's it, we're there. Okay, okay. So am I going, okay, you're going up there. Is that going that way? Up or down?
You keep that over there, right? No, go on up.
What?
Okay, I'll do it for you. Go on.
What
Go on now. Sets and mappings. Okay.
That's the one. I just press this, is it?
Yeah.
Not these things here. Okay, I want to talk to you about a very familiar, the Cartesian product of sets. Now, the Cartesian product of sets, if you take capital N cross M, we're losing this. What are you doing?
Go on, capital N cross M, okay.
Where?
Already there is a mixed identity. Where are you? Sets and mappings, okay.
Okay, that's the Cartesian product of two sets. We all know all about it. It's ordered pairs, and the Cartesian product of two sets is a device for converting functions of two variables into functions of one variable. Does that still move? What's it not doing? Jesus. Press it harder.
Go on, just read it from the screen here. And already there is a mixed identity for M and N. Okay.
So you just press this down. Oh, jeez. Okay. So you already have 4 sets with no structure at all. The maps from N cross M into a third set P are isomorphically equivalent to the scale of the product of the maps from N to P with the maps of M to P. So we keep going and on we go. Why is this thing? Why is it not certain I can present? Okay, we're getting bigger. Now, if these sets are given additional structure and they are abelian groups written additively, then the Cartesian product of the direct sum. Now the Cartesian product can now be converted into the direct sum, and then you have the obvious additive and linear structure on the direct sum, and the direct sum does not conform. The mixed identity does not happen with the direct sum. And for the mixed identity, what has happened here? Where's it gone? You need.
We've lost the paper.
That's somebody else. What has happened?
The paper is gone, Huseyin.
It is retreated into the stratosphere. I hate. I think Mr. Putin has got at it.
Huseyin, are you there? We've lost the sound.
See on the screen, double click me yapacağım.
He's loading the file again. Here we are. Okay,
Yeah.
we're going on to page 2 now.
Yeah.
Page 2. 1. Okay, Robin.
We use the little arrows, do we, or something?
Yeah. Okay, we get you down now. This is page 2. This is the original one. And okay, there you go, Robin. There's the
What
next one.
happens
There.
with
Look, okay.
Make it bigger.
Now we're on page 2.
Okay, so the Jesus, don't
The
touch
direct
it.
sum will go on. He's having problems. Go on.
Okay, if you can see what's on the screen, the mixed identity for abelian groups works off something called the tensor product. And you know about the tensor product. Go back up. That the tensor product of, we need to go further back up. Jesus, what's happening here?
Is it page 2 or 3 you want?
Go back up to the previous page. The tensor product of abelian groups it's a knacky kind of a construction in which you take the free group generated by the Cartesian product and then you give it, you quotient out subgroups and you create a new abelian group, and it's called the tensor product. And if your abelian groups are modules over a ring, then you can tensor over the ring and quotient out a bit more, and you create a new abelian group, which was our quotient of the original group. So here we are confronted with our old friend, the tensor product. And the mixed identity holds for the tensor product and not the direct sum. And so the harm from the tensor product to a third group is the harm from one group to the harm from the other group. So now you have this routine for constructing little mappings from N cross M into a third group, capital P, and there is the mixed identity for abelian groups and ring modules. So now keep plugging away, keep floating up. So for ring modules, we take account of the structure over the ring and possibly even two different rings and bi-modules. So here is the harm from the tensor product into another module is the harm from one module into the harm from the other. And that is the mixed identity for ring modules. And it's pure algebra. So we keep rolling and we're getting somewhere. Okay, now we have the mixed identity, the bilinear mappings from the tensor product over capital A is the A linear mappings from M, one of them, into the B linear mappings of the other. So that's for bi-modules. And if your ring is commutative, then every module is already a bi-module. So the pure algebra is not difficult. So now then we want to fold in norms and linear spaces and norms. And then we need to put a norm on the tensor product. And the obvious norm, well, the tensor product norm is the so-called greatest cross norm. And there are other norms which give you weaker versions of the tensor product norm. So the proper tensor product norm for the mixed identity is the greatest cross norm. And that's something people already know about. And it's the infimum over all possible expressions for a tensor of products of the norm. So there you are confronted with the greatest cross norm, and you now have a normed module, and you're looking at bounded mappings from your greatest cross norm tensor product into another normed module. So now we want to see where this goes. Let us consider what kind of duality. If you wanted to build a duality theory, this started out as a very foolish. It was a PhD project which could have been written by Chat GPT. And the idea in my childish innocence was that you would simply take the theory of normed spaces and stick a Banach algebra in where the scalars used to be. So let us remember the dual of a normed space, the regular, real, or complex dual of a real or complex normed space. So capital M star, the dual, is the bounded real linear mappings from the Banach space M into the real or the scalar field. So you might aspire, if you were trying to invent a duality theory for known modules, you would at first sight, you would just take the bounded A linear mappings from your module into your normed algebra. If you didn't stop to think, that is what you would be tempted to do. And that doesn't, generally speaking, give you a great duality theory. And people like Nachbin and Bonsall, they flirted with this idea, and they said if the algebra has certain curious properties like representing its own linear functionals, that duality might seem to work. And if, however, you just go back to the regular duality and then you take this mixed identity, you take the mixed identity and you bang it into the dual space. The trick to make a duality work is to send you send everything from your known module into the dual space of the algebra. And the mixed identity now tells you something a little bit trivial. It says that the new sparkling new module dual is exactly the same as the old space dual. So we now have, as a special case of the mixed identity, that for a known space, a known left module n, you have that m star is the bounded left A linear mappings from M into A star. And now for finite dimensional capital A, of course, A star is equal to A. So suddenly you now have years ago, when the duality theory for real normed spaces had been established, then they had to somehow fit it up to do the duality theory for complex normed spaces. They had to somehow create a complex and the mixed identity, one of the spin-offs from the mixed identity is that the real and the complex duals of a complex normed space are isomorphic. So that is the first and neatest application of this so-called mixed identity. And if you went on to look at quaternions, which you could, if you were foolish enough, you could look at normed modules over the quaternions, left or right modules over, and now you would see that the original real dual and the quaternion dual were again isomorphic. Now come back down then, and so where are we now? We have, let us see. So the real and the complex duals of a complex normed space coincide. Now if you want some further applications of this duality, there's something called the von Neumann double commutant theorem, which says that if you take a C-star algebra acting on a Hilbert space, that C-star algebra will be a dual space if and only if it is a commutant. So that's the von Neumann double commutant theorem. And we get 50% of that for algebras on reflexive Banach spaces using the mixed identity. Now you have if you go back up again now, if you start with a commutative algebra, then every left module is a bimodule. And if your algebra has an involution, then you get something similar that you have. If you've got an involution on the original module, then left modules over the start with the involution, you get a bimodule structure again. So one place where these modules, these known modules, are our old friends, the integration spaces. The integration spaces for a measure space omega, you have all this capital LP of omega, and there's a rich kind of structure then. If you remember Holder's inequality, you can see that the product, pointwise product of LP and LQ is lying inside LR, when 1 over P plus 1 over Q equals 1 over R. And so now when you work out so now you're ripe for taking tensor products. You can tensor product capital LP and LQ over L infinity. And it turns out that the tensor product with the norm coincides with the pointwise product. So now LP tensor LQ comes out as LR with 1 over P plus 1 over Q equals 1 over R. And that you can throw away the measure theory and do it for discrete measures, little LP and little LQ. And then you get the same thing over again. But now you also have something called the Schatten ideals. They're kind of enhanced versions of the finite rank operators, so that you have Schatten ideals of the operators on a Hilbert space, or indeed a Banach space, which correspond to these little LP spaces, and this tensor product structure survives for these operators. Well, then, of course, you have the famous situation when the measure space, omega, is derived from a locally compact abelian group with Haar measure. And now, instead of pointwise multiplication, you are working on convolution. And now there's an embarrassing problem here, that the algebra would be capital L1 of G, which doesn't always have an identity. It does have an approximate identity. And then what you do is you take the multiplier algebra of capital L1 of G, and you get what's known as the measure algebra. So now with the measure algebra, we still have the luxury of an identity in the convolution algebra, and then you can look at the convolution product of LP and LQ, and that's going to be inside LR, but now it's a different R. 1 over P plus 1 over Q equals 1 plus 1 over R. And so I'd like to reflect on what we've just been talking about. This idea dates back, God help us, it dates back to 1967, before most of you people were born. And I submitted a version of this in my juvenile innocence, and I got a very dusty answer back from the referee. The London Mathematical Society referee told me to do this paper over again. And according to the referee, Harte's account is muddled and unclear. So I was put back in my little box. And while I was trying to sort this out, somebody called Mark Riefel did the convolution stuff over again, and a beautiful paper. When we look through the bibliography, this paper of Riefel is a classic. And so, and as you can hear, I am getting more and more muddled and unclear. So I would like us to look at it. It's all a very simple little bit of a, here are the references, if you can see the bibliography, and it is Dragan Georgievic in Niche who suggested I should go back and revisit this gloomy feature in my past life. And so this is now a joint paper with myself and Dragan Georgievic. And that is the end of my talk. Thank you very much for your attention.
You are welcome. Thank you very much, Professor Robin Hart, for the nice presentation and for the clarification back in 1967 paper. Is there any question either on face-to-face participants or online participants? Any question? Waiting for the questions. No question. Thank you very much, Professor Robin Hart.
We go back to bed.
Thank you. Şimdi hemen şeyini göndereyim. Nedir onun adı? Sertifikasını göndereyim.
Hocam kayıt durdurmak isterseniz. Evet, durdurayım kaydı. Kaydı durduruyorum.
Evet. Evet, kaydı da durdurmuyor musun? Durduramadım.